Hello and welcome back to another Syracuse University esports broadcast. We're coming back at you again. We got PEC action all weekend. Tonight, we got Valorant. I'm Ryan Blankenhorn, and joining me on the desk tonight is the one, the only, Danny Southman. Danny, how are you feeling tonight,
I am feeling absolutely wonderful. I'm excited for Valorant. Ryan, it's been a long time. Last time we saw these guys was spring last year. It's been a while. I've lived with people on this Valorant team, very tied into the process, and I'm excited to see this kind of new form. A lot of new freshmen, a lot of new faces, some baller status players on this team.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? We've got 2 new players on this roster this year. The other 3, right, they've played together at least since last spring, and that's one of the things that's going to be interesting, right? I got a chance to talk a little bit with one of Boise's captains earlier, and all their players are very experienced together as a team. They've all played together. They've been together for at least a year for the majority of them. And that's what I'm curious to see tonight in this matchup is we've got the new, the sort of eager to play, and then we've got the experienced veterans in a sense. I mean, Boise, they've got a grad student and someone graduating this year playing on their team.
It could be intimidating, for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think something that Syracuse has now that they didn't have before. One word. You are very familiar with this. A coach. The coaches, as I'm sure you know, actually, there's a reason teams have coaches, right? It's because they matter. And this coach, Hayabusa, you'll see him actually a little bit.
Yes, we will actually.
I very familiar with him. We were actually on the Valorant team my freshman year.
Wow.
So this is my ex-teammate that is now the coach of the Valorant team, also part-time substitute. But I've been talking to him. I've been hearing him talking about it. I've been hearing Presley talk about it. My ex-roommate. Nothing violent happened. Everyone down.
Oh no.
And I do think they have a good new vision for this team because last year, right? They showed flashes. They kind of a few good rounds, a few good games, maybe a good match. They can win here and there, but they can never really put it all together at the same time. And so I hope with the addition of this coach of a more kind of not strict the right word, of a more like regimented, structured routine, not only with practice, but also with voting, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, right? Like with that coach, just speaking a little bit here from my own experience,
That's right.
One of the biggest things that coach brings to the table is that structure, right? Is a coach isn't just there to sort of say, all right, cool, click heads better.
Yeah.
Right? That's not what they're there for. They're there to really make the team be a team, right? The Webster definition of a team, right? That's what they're supposed to be there for, to actually bring that team into being an actual team. And that's one of the biggest jobs of a coach. I mean, last night, if you tuned in, the Overwatch team, brand new team, right? One of my jobs, getting them to work together. A lot of them came from ranked. That's all they knew how to play. And getting them into scrims, getting them into that structure of play style and practice times, and actually working as a team. So seeing that, right, with Valorant, that's going to be a major improvement, right? I mean, just no matter who you are, what game you play, coaches, if you have a good coach, they're meant to bring the team together and actually operate as a team. And Valorant, it's a 5-person game.
It's a team game. It is really a team game in the truest sense of the word. Yes, in these FPSs, a little bit more so than a game like Overwatch. One person can appear to be taking over the match a little bit more aggressively, just because right. There's no wrecking ball with 700 HP flying around your team.
Yeah. We'll go over that later.
but that shouldn't over or undersell the importance of that coach, right? It's like if you're playing pickup basketball. You play pickup, you walk around, whatever, you pass the ball, you do some things. Yeah, you have a few set plays, kind of standard plays that everybody knows, like in rank.
Absolutely,
okay, let's do our AXQ. You smoke heaven, you smoke tree, you close the door, and then you plant the bomb, or spike, excuse me. And then, my persona isn't very up to date.
I love the persona. It's great.
but the coach is here to say, okay, right? 4 different ways to take A. 4 different ways to retake A. Here's how we take A if we're down a player. Here's how we retake if we're down 2. If we're up, here's where we go. Right? Everything should be, in a perfect world, planned out like that. Right? Not to say you don't want to let the players play and express their creativity, but it provides, like we were saying before, more structure to this very hectic game with 5 versus 10 players. Throwing a million trillion smokes, flashes, mollies, global ultimate stuns.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in Valorant. It's a surprising amount of stuns.
Gunplay.
Precise gunplay. Yeah. That's what they advertise, anyways.
That's what they advertise. and also, not to put too much weight behind Syracuse's hopes and dreams here, but has been a bit of a rough start for Syracuse in the PEC. 0-2. And, you know, we won a map yesterday. That's good. Boise State, very talented Overwatch team, but still, Syracuse is hungry for something. Hungry to notch something on that side of the W column, whether it be Rocket League, Overwatch, Valorant, Smash going to be tomorrow. So we can cross our fingers and hope that these guys got something cooking.
Yeah, and, you know, that's one of the biggest things with the PEC, right, is, you know, you have those rivalries, right?
Yeah, excuse me, sorry to interrupt. For the uninitiated, what is the PEC and how does it look different than kind of what we've seen before?
Right, well, the PEC, the Power Esports Conference, right? It's all about these Division I, these Power 5 schools competing together and actually creating this first Division I league. And you know what? I will tell you all about it here in a second, Danny, but it looks like we're going to go on a quick little break here, but don't go anywhere. I promise we'll be right back, and I'll give you all the information on the PEC. told you. We'd be right back. And of course, we are back. And to continue a little bit further, Danny, you asked a little bit about the PEC.
I did.
Right? So let me go ahead, quickly recap the PEC, right? Power Esports Conference. A lot of these Division I institutions, these Power 5 schools coming together to create this new league. And this new league is really meant to bring scholastic collegiate esports into a new light, into this Tier 1, this sort of collegiate Division
more
one
of
aspect.
a traditional what you would expect within college rather
Yeah.
than just kind of a free-for-all of
Exactly. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things with this PEC, right? And one of the things that I really enjoy about the PEC as a whole is the fact of how serious each one of these teams are.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we've got some great named schools in here. We got The Ohio State University. We've got Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma. You know, we've got some really good teams here, and each one of them are looking for this sort of season 0, in a sense, trophy at the end of the year.
The first one is etched in the record books, right? You don't. People don't remember the second ever team to win a Super Bowl, but they remember the first.
Absolutely.
Do you know the first?
No.
Because I don't either.
that
should prove my point. But as you can see, we're headed right into map 1 onto Bind.
Yeah, so Bind, that's going to be Syracuse's pick for map number 1. Map 2 is going to be Sunset. That's Boise's pick. And then map 3, our decider, is going to be Ascent, just so all of you are aware of the next 3 maps we're going to be seeing here. But in terms of what we just saw, right, some Vipers, we saw some Geckos, right, a Brimstone from the side of Syracuse. I was told earlier, right, we may see Omen, right, an Omen Viper.
Yeah.
So the Brimstone Viper, I'm curious to see sort of how they want to really work with this double smoke, specifically with Brimstone over the Omen, right? You gain some more smokes. You also gain a little bit more utility. I'm curious, right, with this Stim Beacon, we might also see some more aggressive plays from Syracuse.
That's right. It seems like the Stim Beacon really kind of sets the team up for those fast, aggressive plays up A short, through hookah, running through long. I mean, it's a great tool to kind of just get in your opponent's face and freak him out. I also think it's interesting whenever you see in a game like this, you see a lot of the same characters, but I think the places where they separate is the really interesting choice because it shows kind of what each team's strength is. And it seems right now, just looking at it, Boise State has a deadlock, whereas in place of that, Syracuse opts to go with the Viper.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I was actually just about to mention, right, is this deadlock, right? We've got the double initiator of that Sky and that Gecko from both sides of the teams here. We've got the Brimstone on both sides, the Rays, but the difference, like you said, right, instead of this Viper, we are going to see the deadlock, and that is one of the interesting things here. This Sentinel coming out from Boise State, a Sentinel we don't see much of.
And it seems like we're seeing an aggressive push from Syracuse, trying to take space on defense up that B-long site. Good job using their utility. Going to continue with that Skydog to try and fish out where these last few members of Boise State are hiding. Boise State now kind of has to walk back, take a breath, and try and reset, come back together, and try to find a way back into this round.
Yeah, losing that duelist and losing one of your initiators, especially that Gecko, is going to put you at a little bit of a disadvantage here. But with Syracuse, they know that, and they are going to push hard here, but that you don't want to get too aggressive and get caught out by Boise State.
The Sky Flash comes out, threats the nice double tap, looking for the third, finds it, the triple from the Syracuse captain, secures the pistol for them.
Yeah, very well played coming out from Syracuse, right? A nice place flash really can make or break a fight, right? And that's what we just saw. A beautiful flash comes out from Asher there, and you are able to find those 2 kills right there. And just like that, Syracuse able to take round number 1 here against this Boise State, against this experienced roster, this veteran roster that we discussed a little bit earlier. And now they're going to be able to do a little bit of this first buy and go forward for a second round on this Bind defense.
It seems like they're kind of opting to do a similar kind of aggressive strategy, but that Sky Flash is going to come, get the tag onto Owen. So the info comes in for Boise State, forces Owen, the sophomore duelist out of New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, to back up, take a bit of a more passive position as Boise State creeps towards this A-bomb site.
Yeah, obviously Boise State here, you don't want to play quite as aggressive as you did last round, and they're already making changes to that as we see here. Boise State playing a little bit slower, already doing some damage to the side of Syracuse, and now if you're Boise State, right, you're just trying to force out a lot of this util, and they have, and we see that Prestige is going to stay back a little bit, but the rest of Boise State already thinking maybe they're going to start to rotate, or maybe they're going to push through on this right side.
T0 going to be the first one to take contact, gets dinked, low HP, and is going to fall. That is not a good pick if you're Syracuse. Now Boise State has a free gun, and it seems like they're going to try and press their advantage. 4 up short, and they're just going to run right through the TP. Syracuse have already rotated, and it should be a free B-bomb site.
Yeah, and just like that, Boise State very well played there. They were passive. They let Syracuse push into them. That's one of the things I was curious to see, right? We see a lot of times with some of these newer teams, they get a little antsy, right? When you go up against some of these rosters that play slow, that play patient, wait for your util to go out, and then you push in. They wait for that, right? You keep 1 or 2 members back like we just saw from the side of Boise State. They've already got the plant down. Prestige finding a nice headshot on Pretz. This is what Boise State wants.
Yeah, they're just stacked up and long, and the kills come kind of quickly. It's now 0-1v5. Not much you can do. Boise State, get the thrifty.
Yeah, very well played, thrifty from the side of Boise State, really playing that to their strengths and making sure, all right, like I said earlier, right? They're playing back, they're forcing the util, and as they force this util, they're able to find the value from Syracuse out, right? And, with Boise State sort of forcing this util coming out from Syracuse, you almost have nothing going in for your retake, and if you overcommit onto that site, right, then you literally, it's not even a matter of cooldowns, you have no one on the site to help you either.
Yeah. It can be brutal, and again, good discipline from Boise State. Syracuse try to do it back, try and get back, with the pistols, but it seems like Boise State going to be a little bit more disciplined. Asher and his teammate Pretz trying to sneak through the speed tunnel, but the peek is going to come in. Asher is able to find the quick headshot, traded out though. Good pick to kind of get a gun away, but Boise State's just going to flood out on his B.
Yeah, it's a good trade, but now Syracuse, you're down by 2 members here. Boise State is just playing their trades just a little bit better than Syracuse is right now. And here's another thing, right? As they take this round, Boise State, they were able to get a free set of guns from that last round as well, which is going to put their eco in such a good spot, right?
Yeah.
Now they're going to be on that bonus. They're going to be on that situation where they don't have to buy. They can if they want to. Syracuse is going to force out this round 3 buy, as we normally see from some of these rosters. And this is where things can really start to snowball, right? Valorant can be a very snowballing game when you look at the economy, when you look at some of these areas where a team has to force that full buy. You're down to 200, 300, 400 credits going into that next round. You need to be able to win this first round so that you don't snowball into this habit.
Exactly. Syracuse looks like they're going to make the early play with the nade. T0 going to swing off of it a little bit, just looking for a little bit of contact, but the brim smoke is going to be there to block off Syracuse from finding out any information.
Syracuse, this time playing slow on their end, right? We're going to see Asher, one of our new players here at the Syracuse roster, not going to get too aggressive, right? Only 1 flash was used, playing safe. Pretz also watching the angle, keeping this gas in sort of that rotation, making sure you don't lose it as well here for the side of Syracuse. Playing smarter, right? They've backed up. They're waiting for Boise, and Boise, now they're starting to be the ones who have to push in with that cooldown advantage, not in their favor anymore, as they're even with Syracuse.
The brim smokes come down. Boise takes the site. Syracuse opts to just slow it down like you've been talking about and play for the retake. Now, Raze did blast pack up. Pretz heard it. Pretz also good enough player, has the game sense to know that the Raze drops back down. The Gecko Flash is going to come out for information, and the Raze is going to swing off it. Is Pretz going to know that the Raze is close? Oh. Yes, swings, finds the second, peeked out and traded. But Syracuse now have the momentum. Pushing into this site are the other 4 members. Asher finds the 1 pick, and now it's a 1v2. 1 hookah, 1 long. Syracuse have to do a good job splitting their attention here between these 2 sites. The Brimstones are going to be down. The last one is in hookah. They just have to turn and look. They find the kill. Syracuse clean up a pretty textbook retake.
Yeah, and one of the great things I saw there, right? Pretz able to find 2 there. One of the big things we talk about in Valorant is trades, right? We mentioned that a few times already as we approach round number 5. And what that means, right? Taking 1 target out, but you die in the process, right? Or vice versa, right? You die, but at least someone on your team takes out the opponent. Pretz able to find 2 for 1 value there. A nice little BOGO deal, if you ask me. And with that, puts Syracuse in the advantage. Immediately, we see that beautiful Hayabusa, right? We see the brim smokes come down, and with that, makes the Boise State retake even more difficult. And even that brim molly wasn't quite able to find the spike either, so Boise State was forced to push in.
Boise State now have 5 players kind of towards this B side of the map. A lot of people inching their way towards hookah. That dog is going to come out and see if there's anybody close out around this A side bathrooms, but nobody is going to be home after they come knocking on the door once. Yeah, and Syracuse did use the Viper ult to play, and now the Thrash is going to come out from Boise State and going to go and clear that B site, jump into the Viper ult, and now Pretz is going to have himself a time. It's his time to go. Behind one, finds the first pick. Opts to push through the wrong way. Nobody's there. Turns back around. They know where Pretz is, but Pretz does still have that ult up, although it's not going to do much as Boise State have taken the site, are pushing up elbow into CT. Owen is going to be the one to take first contact, going to look the right direction, finds the one, the spray down two, traded out by Master, but Syracuse aren't out of it yet.
No, not at all. It's a 3-on-2 here. The Thrash is going to connect with Master, but Prestige is there. The trade is there as well. T0 is able to find that kill. One of the veteran players for the side of Syracuse. And with this, now Syracuse going to find the lead here in this matchup. Boise State able to get on the site, but once they're on that site, that's when we're seeing some sort of chinks in the armor coming out from the side of Boise. They're not quite able to find that value once they're on site. They can't keep that defense there, and that's one of the biggest things, right? When you have this double smoke from Syracuse, you can set up so much better. You can take off a lot of these chokes, a lot of these angles, and that's one of the disadvantages of having this deadlock here.
Yeah. Deadlock is very strong, especially on defense, but on offense, it's kind of like you take a site, you put down your big cage, but if in an organized team play like this, they're just going to spray it down. It seems like right off the bat, Owen might find some fighting some forces in bathrooms, going to find one, but Skelesis pushes in, gets the trade, and is able to find the next kill onto T0. Now, do not forget about Hayabusa with the judge. The Supreme Court lays down its first ruling. Taking out the deadlock, evens it out back into a 3v3. Hayabusa feeling himself, going to swing out, tag the Brimstone down to low HP. The Molly is going to come out, force that Brimstone into bathrooms where Hayabusa isn't able to clean up the kill. Asher does find the trade, but now in a 1v2, split up between U-Haul and deep into bathrooms here. Asher knows one is bathrooms, but probably doesn't quite suppose exactly where is going to end up swinging out, but Prestige playing smart, playing slow, just baiting out time. You win the round if the spike goes off. You win the round if you also take out every defender.
That was a lot better played from the side of Boise State, right? Once they got onto that site, we saw a great two-piece come out from Master, which I did want to quickly add there. And one of the things we saw, right, with that two-piece, it was because of the aggression from Syracuse, right? Just a little bit too confident going in for that finishing kill, and in the process, the healing comes in from the sky on Boise State.
Yeah.
And then in return, Master able to find 2 kills, and then Boise State split. We had one on the right, one on the left, and then Syracuse was sort of just struggling to find that value. This is what Boise State needs to do, though, if you want to actually take these sites after you plant them.
Asher finds a little bit of info that Flash is going to go off, give him the blinded tag, so he knows that at least one person is there, but the thing about Sky is you don't know if it's 1 or if it's 5. Syracuse are playing on the eco. The Raze ult comes out, runs through the site. That is universal language for scatter. When you hear Raze scream, fire in the hole. With Stingers, Syracuse has to try and play their guns, play close range, but the smokes and the sets up from Boise State seems like it's going to try. They know what guns Syracuse has.
Yeah, they know they're going to be on this thrifty here, and so they're going to play it just a lot safer, right? You don't need to take these gun battles with them, so you know this. They have to take it, then you win 9 times out of 10. And Reina taking a nice two-piece there. Prestige going to find one as well, and just like that, Syracuse with that low weapon and not also having the ability to really find that spike advantage, they were forced to go in, and Boise State retaking this lead now against Syracuse. Boise State really fixing some of those problems we were seeing earlier, right? They were changing up the way that once they're on that site, now they're in a good spot, right? Now they're in that position where they can now take advantage of Syracuse, right? Watching those cooldowns, forcing them to use these cooldowns right when the spike is planted. We saw them back up early, right? Just on that last round. Boise State, everyone backs up. Syracuse, the Brimstone, used all the util, and then Boise State's like, all right, cool. Now it's our turn.
Smoke comes in, allows Owen to creep further into bathrooms with T0. The Boombot is going to come out, see if there's anybody close to allow T0 to pick up that ult orb. Gecko ult is just so valuable. Seems like Boise State opting to just play slower. Bit of a default setup and see where the map opens up.
Yeah, and if I'm Boise State here, I wouldn't be surprised if you pop that Sky ult here. Just figure out what you're looking for, right? Where you might find some of Syracuse's attackers here. Dog goes in, will find Owen, and this could be Boise State, right? We see 2 ultimates used already. This is where Boise State's going to try and go in fast, or we could see a late rotate, but as I say that, Spike's already going down.
Both Brimstone ults come out. Boise State's clears you, and Hayabusa's is just to kind of delay the plant, get onto the middle of the site, but now the Thrash is going to come out. Hayabusa, stuck triple, has to try and find a kill. Is able to find one, trade it out before he gets the second, though. 4v3 now for Syracuse. Opting to regroup, and the sound of the TP rings true as Syracuse now runs back through their spawn over to B.
Yeah, 30 seconds here. Boise State needs to go fast, and the thing is that wingman is down, so Scalestis is going to have to go in and actually plant this manually. A good molly will prevent Syracuse from going in. A 4v3, very easy for Boise State to win this, but Syracuse is in the good position here. You have some util to work with. Pretz on this Viper, going to go for a fake defuse, and Boise State is going to be forced to peek that.
Yeah, it kind of requires it to peek, and Syracuse able to take advantage of that. They find the 1 kill, and they find the second on the Rapper. Owen with a 3-piece takes out Skies hiding in a hookah, and Syracuse even up the score.
Yeah, Syracuse and Boise, an even match right now. The new players and the veteran players going up against each other. This rivalry of Syracuse and Boise. Which blue and orange is better, Danny? That's the question you've got to ask. And now, 4-4 here. We have Deadlock on the side of Boise, Gecko for Syracuse on line for those ultimate abilities. And here's the thing, Boise State and Syracuse, each one of them, every time, they're having to change up this playstyle. They're having to change up which way they want to go. And that's how you know both these teams are very, very good, right? Because if one strat is not working and you have to change it up, it's because your other team is adapting and they're getting ready for that next plant. And that's what we're seeing from the side, from both of these sides right now, Danny.
Deadlock ult is going to come out, and it's going to hit nobody. That Deadlock ult can be so powerful, but Owen pushes the fight a little too much on Cat, is taken out by Skies, and now, instead of pushing Boise State, just opt to back up, play their man advantage, and slow down.
Yeah, with that, that's going to put Boise at a good spot, taking that duelist down. Going to make it a little bit difficult for that intro pick right from that duelist, making that space. And with that, Boise might go a little bit more aggressive. We see the dog and a nade comes in from the side of Boise State, starting to go in. A lot of util is being invested here. Boise wants to get this spike plant down and force Syracuse into an uncomfortable position.
The Brim smokes, the Echo flashes. It does allow for the spike to be planted, but as we're talking about, that combat sim is going to allow Syracuse to just run up through and catch the reloading Skelsis. That is a really good play to just try and catch him off guard. There are 3 members of Boise State hiding Cat, and it's going to be on Syracuse's guns to find them. T0 finds one, but Master and Prestige each strike back. Asher now looking for this kill, is able to find it onto the sky. Now it is a 2v2. One is in bathrooms, one is back on short. Master knows that he's getting run down and has to back up, is able to swing, find the headshot. Now it is Pretz on site.
Yeah, we're going to see Reina goes for the time. The half is there, and the shot comes out from Pretz. A nice flick will send Syracuse back into the lead here, Danny. And just like that, I mean, it's these types of plays that I'm talking about, right? You have to be careful, right? We're seeing the trades come out, but if you're a Boise State, right, it just wasn't quite enough here. And now we're seeing Boise State on that back burner. Some of them are going to be forcing, some of them are going to be on that half buy. This is going to be a crucial round for Boise if they lose.
They don't make him like Pretz anymore, let me tell you. That is, I mean, that is stone cold killer capabilities from the Syracuse captain to the wherewithal to get the spike to half, to back up, to play around the smoke. It forces the Deadlock there to do something, but Syracuse now going to make a play through long. They hear the ult orb gets picked up. Pretz feels the phantom bullets fly by his head. The boombot going to come out from Skies to try and suss out how many people are here, but destroyed quickly in response. Asher, the net comes out, traps him there. They have the sound cue. They know he's there. It's going to force Asher through the TP to escape with his life.
and that's a great force, right? You don't get the kill, but you are going to be able to force Syracuse down one member on this site. Now it's a 4-1. Boise State, if they know this, right, they can go in. You can use these initiators, use those flashes to get in. I'm sure Wingman's going to be thrown in here just a second after Dog. Smokes come down. Boise State, they want this site, and they are immediately running it down as these 4. We do see one lurking in the back, and that is the one you have to be careful of, right? If Syracuse chooses to go on this flank angle, you have to be careful of the one that is on this flank.
Pretz tucks himself in the corner, has an opportunity to find many here. The 1, the 2, Flicks isn't able to find the 3rd. Master with that Guardian is able to shut Pretz down, but not before the help from Syracuse arrives. Asher, sussing out that site with the Dog, is able to find a tag through the combat stim. Skies takes down Hayabusa. Now Syracuse in a 2v3. The Rays pokes her head out, unable to find anything. The Gecko Molly going to force people out of position, but there's another one in Hookah. You have to be careful of your back. The Gecko, the Wingman is going to start the defuse, hops on it, now able to find one. The second T0 now in a 1v1 with Gecko on the bomb. Some things don't end the way you want it. Good play from Master there, able to find that headshot and even it up for Boise.
Yeah, and these are the things, right? One of the things that I'm sort of seeing from Boise is we're kind of seeing they're good at trades on that pre-plant, but once that plant's down, we're seeing them struggle a little bit, right? We're seeing players like Pretz and T0 take advantage of these 1v1s, right? These mechanics from Syracuse. That's one of the things I was mentioning to you before broadcast is, right, this team is new, but their mechanics are where they are going to thrive. And that's one of the things that Boise State needs to be aware of is, it's like you said earlier, right? It's not a fully team game like Overwatch where one player can rule the lobby. In a game like this, though, a player can really take advantage with a 2 or 3 piece.
Pretz and Asher doing their the kind of play they've been doing this whole game, fighting for B-long control, fighting for information. Pretz did have the Phantom, and Pretz falls. Asher with the Stinger, going to be close. Destroy that Boombot, has to relocate as Boise State kind of sense out the weakness in B and start walking there.
Yeah, and this Viper going down for the side of Syracuse. Boise State, Pretz has been setting up on this site for a while now, so you may just try to rush us in, right? One of those controllers have fallen, and you could take advantage of that using some of these Brim smokes, maybe even a Molly, right? And we see go down. The Thrash comes out, though. Boise State is hunting for this site to be clear.
Oh, it is going to detain Asher, who is being hunted down by Reina. Skies, the fire in the hole. Hayabusa does not heed the warning. Falls down. Skies, a 2-piece on this round so far. 7 HP. A Sheriff on top of a Raise nade. We know how that story ends.
And that was just flawlessly played from
the game's even saying it. Flawless, not a point of damage taken from Boise State.
A flawless plays coming out from Boise State there, right? That Viper goes down, really the controller that's been defending that site. And once that goes down, we see both the Wingman we see Thrasher and we see the Boom go down from the side of Rays. And with that, they just sort of walk in as that initiation falls. And you have no control to really split that side up, to really take the advantage back for the side of Syracuse. And so they knew that. They went in, and that's exactly what we saw from Boise State. Very well played.
Interesting blast pack from Owen there at the start of the round before the barriers even come down. But as we've been kind of seeing, Syracuse love putting this Brim smoke down to number 1, fight for the orb. But, that Deadlock net is going to find Owen trapped in this corner. But remember, Boise State does not know that there is someone right here. They also think it could be the fire in the hole. The party has arrived. Rowena on the other side of the smoke. Is Owen going to left click? Yes. Not too much damage, though, comes out as Owen. A combo of that blast pack and that rocket fuse. Enough movement to get behind that wall.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That's radiant plays.
That really is. Owen able to get out alive.
I didn't know you could do that.
I'm rather impressed Boise wasn't trying to wallbang that corner, and with that may have cost them that kill, but they're going to walk on a site here. Pretz finds one, but as we were mentioning earlier, those trades come out. We are going to see Skelesis is going to get this plant down, and now Boise State, once again, you're in this post-plant scenario. You cannot let Syracuse get the value in these 1v1s that have been happening so much. Owen finds one already.
The Thrash comes through for Syracuse, but Rowena does push that and find T0. It is now a 2v3. You have one member Hookah and you have 2 on long. Owen is looking elbow. That is not the direction the enemies are at. Hayabusa runs out of cover. It runs out from behind the cover. With the Guardian, though, going to be an easy cleanup for Scalesis and Boise.
Yeah, and that is going to be that side switch. Right now we're going to see Syracuse on that attacking side, Boise State on the defensive side. And this is one of the things I wanted to discuss, right? On the attacking side, definitely going to be Syracuse sided,
For sure.
Because you're going to have this double smoke. So you have total control on this site, both pre and post plant. However, this is where the deadlock can be interesting, right? You lose a little bit of that value on the attack, but on this defense, you can... The thing with Deadlock, right, she's not your solo scent. You always want to run something else, right? Like a Cypher even, or just something else to run with Deadlock. She's not your solo Sentinel. So this is what I'm curious to see, is how Boise State intends to use this Deadlock. Whether you put Deadlock in with maybe your Skye on one site and use that Skye as that initiating type of Sentinel to really give the value to this Deadlock.
An aggressive push up bathrooms from Boise State yields a pick onto Owen. Just kind of sitting there watching. Wrong place, wrong time. Syracuse, a man down early into the pistol round. The Viper Wall is going to give them a little bit of an alleyway into U-Haul, but this is not Boise State's first rodeo. They know this plan from Syracuse. They see what's going on, and flashes, Gecko and Skye both going to combine to run out through the smoke, but coming behind them, the flank from you, Skies and Skelsis able to find one. The second... unable to be found as Boise State plays slow and find the good wraps.
Yeah, and I really love the way that Syracuse played that, right? With the control. That's one of the things with this double controller comp, right? We saw that split, and then those brim smokes come down as well. You lock down that site, but Boise State, they know that they're at that disadvantage with those smokes, and we saw how patient they played in lamps there, right? We saw that they just waited, right? Waited it out, and they heard those flashes come out onto site. They knew Syracuse was likely going to push in. Boise State waiting, go around, and then just take that flank angle, finding beautiful kills. And Boise State, for the first time here in this series, we're seeing has a much larger lead than in the past.
Yeah, and Syracuse going to try and look to pull off the thrifty of their own to come back in this game, because 5-9, well, I mean, definitely doable.
Absolutely.
It's not where you want to be. You don't want to be down for rounds, especially going into offense. It can kind of feel like you can't crack through the holes. But Raise the Owen with the shorty, going to, I guess, flub the movement. I think Owen was trying to blast right through those doors. The Gecko Molly, I mean, 30,000 pieces of goo flying from the sky. Drop Owen down to 17 HP. But the spike and the pick come out for Syracuse, and they're going to try and buckle down and see if they can pull off something.
Yeah, and I'm liking the way that Syracuse is playing this, right? We saw Owen get a little unlucky there with everything that was happening, but played a little back, played a little safe, right? And now Boise State and Syracuse. Boise is going to be up by one member here, but Syracuse has that plant down, and Boise is going to be forced to walk in.
Yeah, and walk in they do. Skies finds the one, the second with the pistol, but Owen picks up the frenzy, finds one, the good dink onto Master. Syracuse with the bomb plant and 2 frags. Would you say that is, if you could sign up before the round for that outcome, would you?
I mean, you know, Sky's on this Outlaw. I just... Here's the thing with the Outlaw, right? It's a very interesting gun to use, right?
For sure.
If you're going to use one of these types of rifles, you know, use the Marshall, you know, bring out the Operator once you get the creds for it, right? But this Outlaw is a very interesting choice, and one thing I want to really bring to everyone's attention is it wasn't a headshot either, right? That Outlaw, 140 damage to the chest,
145.
Right? 145, right? So when you're in that situation, right, you need the headshot to get the kill 9 times out of 10, especially against this heavy armor, which we're seeing come out from Syracuse. But we're still going to see the value come out from Skies, right? Putting that pressure on with the Outlaw is exactly what you need, because then you can have this situation where the rest of your team blocks in. But there's the headshot. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, you tried to say something smart, and you just look like an idiot. No, I'm kidding. It was a good headshot. The Outlaw's a good gun. Look, when I tear up rank lobbies, I do love buying the Outlaw, even though my teammates don't. Syracuse, though, they are able to get that spike planted, but oh my god, the Raze is going to storm out onto the site, pick up a 3-piece. Owen going to be stuck in this Gecko Molly, has to buck up, and now Owen and his partner are going to have to come out with the miracle here. They find the 1 pick, Asher with the second. Now Syracuse have equalized into a 2v2. Asher wisely disengages, plays slow, has these Skye flashes to play with. The flash comes out, the 1 kill. Ray Reyna now peeking, dancing around with the thing. They peek together. Unfortunately, a little too much for Asher to try and combat against, as Boise State win the bonus.
Yeah, Boise State, they are really sort of starting to walk away here on this defensive side. And this is one of the things that I was curious with how they were going to work this Sentinel, right? How they were going to work this deadlock. And I'm loving the way they're playing it right now, right? Because we're seeing this deadlock, right? A little bit of this util is being used, you know, watching the flank with those sound sensors, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing I really want to point out is the wall usage coming out from the deadlock, right? Because when Boise State is on that site, they're using that wall to prevent Syracuse from finding the value, right? One tiny detail. And, you know, this is what you expect from these high-level players. We've seen it a few times. This wall is perfectly lined so that when you get shot at, you're going to be shooting the wall, not the player defusing the spike. And Boise State is really using that to their advantage, and then they're double peeking like we just saw. Boise State 3 rounds away from taking map number 1.
Syracuse really looks... To put it quite simply, they need to find this round here, or else it looks really bleak. Boise State going to, again, we see these passive holds on the A site instead. Boise State opting to just play the 5-man retake, and Pretz is going to get the bomb down, but the action is yet to come. The deadlock nade comes out. Owen is able to blast pack back into this corner, but that box is able to be shot through. The AWP coming out from the side of Boise State. That is something Syracuse has to be careful about. Asher finds the nice pick. Gives Syracuse a man advantage, but now the flurry of action is going to start to commence. Owen finds one Master with the double to try and even this back out to a 3v3, and we each take a pause. The calm before the storm, but the storm flies in. Reyna, Prestige each find one. Hayabusa versus 3, unable to convert it, and Syracuse going to be down 6 rounds.
And see, one of the plays that we're seeing here, right, Syracuse, they're doing a good job. They're getting on the site. They're getting that plant down. But then, right, one of the biggest things I'm realizing is especially when they're playing lamps here, Boise State with the brimstone, we're seeing that molly throwing the lamps. You are forcing them to go down one choke point. And though that may end up in just a gunfight and who wins, right, Boise State's been coming out on top for the most part here, especially with with Master, right, finding those 11 kills. Sky's 19-12 right now. I might want to add as well, but I mean, with this, right, we're seeing really good plays coming out from Boise State, forcing Syracuse into situations that they are uncomfortable, where they're forced to take these battles, and Syracuse is just struggling to find their way back. They're on a thrifty here as well, puts them in a very scary spot because Boise State, if they win this, they're 1 away, and they also bought out the operator. That's just as I mentioned it. Skies finds Owen.
The operator followed by the threshold is a nasty, nasty combo. Sky's going to throw out that nade, get a little bit of a tag onto Asher, but the kill is not going to be found quite yet. T0 with this sheriff trying to make something happen. Syracuse, though, 2v5. They get pushed from all angles. Prestige finds the kill on Asher, but okay, while we were doing that, Pretz on the other side of the map got 2 kills.
Wow.
And died.
Yeah, and if you're Syracuse here, right, now you're in that sort of final fight territory, right? That final situation, and 1 round away, right? You're able to buy here, and that's really what that last round was about, right? You force the thrifty so that you can buy in this potential last round scenario, right? Make it as even as possible. Skies going to hold on to that operator, right? We have a lot of ults ready, though, for the side of Syracuse, right? We have Brim, Sky. We also have the Viper and the Rays sitting with these ults ready. Boise State, none, right? If you're Syracuse here, play a little patient. Let Boise play aggressive, right? Let them walk on. They only have 3 smokes to work with here.
Syracuse taking some space, looking for some information. The space is well fought for, but Boise State, since this B hit's coming, I mean, it's slow burn. The util's coming out, and the rocket fuse from Owen pushed down to the back of the site, throws that into CT. Pretz is going to find the lurk kill over on A, and then TPs joins his team back on the B site, and Spike goes down.
Yeah, with this now, Syracuse going to need to really just watch this, right? We see the ult come out, as well as Asher finding 1. Now this is really good for Syracuse.
Playing around the smoke, dodging, dipping back. The Sky Flash is going to come out. No one's going to peek off it, though. Asher, and again, Viper, Pretz does have the ultimate live on the site. T0 going to throw that blind into the ult, get a tag. He should know that 1 is over to his right, is able to find the kill. The second, Ray is able to find the trade, but a 1v4 against this Viper ult. Ray doing their best to make it a little bit hairier, but Syracuse able to close it out.
Yeah, Syracuse finding that round. And one thing I also want to just give major credit to Syracuse, only one ult used. Only that Viper
big.
pit was used.
No.
And that's going to put Syracuse in a very comfortable, well, okay, comfortable is relative here. You're 6 of 12, but very comfortable spot because now you have 2 more to work with, right? You have a very good zoning ult and actually 2 really good zoning ults, right, with that Thrasher and good intel with that Thrasher, right? On the side of Boise, you only have that 1 net, right? That's all you have to go up against Syracuse. And, I mean, if you're Syracuse here, right, you have the double smokes to work with. You have 2 very good ults to really engage through sight and force space with. One of them is going to give you intel. You have the ability to take this site, but you can't die early.
Owen able to find the first pick. Traded out by Prestige. Responded to from Hayabusa. The combat stim going to come up. He was feeling himself. Decides to back up, doesn't really want to push the issue that much, but Asher, I'm thinking of Overwatch. Asher and Pretz sitting back on this attacker side of A short. On the other side, the kind of who's been the best player in the lobby up to this point, Skies is sitting in this corner. Syracuse looks like they're going to push A, but are they going to check this left corner? Master is doing the jump peek, so that is going to throw it out, but T0 with that Thrash is not going to check the left. If they run out and they're not ready, good. Thank you, Syracuse. We have brains in our skulls, and it is the 3v1 retake for Ray to try and come back here.
Was a little scary there, right?
Yeah, they had me, dude. That's happened to me a million times, and my whole team has been wiped.
Yeah, but Syracuse able to get the plant down as well, only going up against this 1 deadlock left. It is going to be Rareda, and you know, if you're Boise here, right, this pistol's all you've got. Not going to find it. Asher will find the pick. Syracuse, they're not quite out of this one, right? 7 and 12 here. They're going to be in a good spot. Boise State is also, I believe, should be able to get some of their weapons back. Yep, the full buy is going to be there, but you know, on the flip side, right?
Yep.
We were talking about a few rounds ago what made Syracuse so strong. They had 3 ultimates against none. Boise State. Now they're looking at 3, right? Almost 4 if Skies get 1 pick, which we've seen Skies go off today.
Yeah, I mean, it has kind of been Sky City in this map. No, but I mean, yeah, Syracuse is definitely kind of staring up a mountain, and as we see, the Flash is going to get a lot of intel. Prestige peeks out, looks for the kill, but is tagged down. That Molly is going to force someone out the left, but Pretz on the other side of the map, lurking bathroom, is able to take down 2 before he was traded out by Boise. So Syracuse does have the player advantage. 2 towards this B site. Syracuse kind of feels like that's the place they want to go.
Yeah, and if you're Syracuse, right, you have this Brim ult to use, right? You can use this for space. Owen's going to find one as well. Nice. Boise State down to 2 members, down to 1 now. Syracuse not out of this fight yet, Danny.
They're not, and this is one of the hardest things to do in comp shooters, whether it be Valorant, CS, whatever. It's finding that last round. It is because it's like, oh, I have time. Like they were up 12-6, 12-5.
12-5, yeah.
So it's like, oh, we're good, dude. And now, I mean, now they're in the spot where, barring, all right, good.
Oh,
yeah, barring something crazy, it's now 8-12. I don't think the money situation's looking extremely good for Boise State. Could be 9-12. You lose another round, then you have to eco again. Now we're playing for the draw, playing to go in OT.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Syracuse now riding this momentum. Boise State, I'm a big ult guy, right? You know, I've been playing Overwatch for a while now. That's my game. And, you know, we've got 5 ults on this table, right? 5 abilities for Boise State to use, to take advantage, to really stop Syracuse in their tracks. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see an early Thrasher come out, right? An early Thrasher with the Rays. We're going to see probably a little good pick, but Owen going to put down a lot of trades come out here, Danny. Boise State is going to be the one on top, and they have ult advantage. The Thrasher is going to come out as well.
Oh, Asher going to try and get it, but the good Thrash movement, and now it's just going to be on Pretz to defend his teammate while he waits to get out of that detainment. He does. Excellent work by Pretz there, able to defend his teammate, able to kind of stall that out, and it seems like they just kind of want to press this advantage, that little pixel angle from Skelsis, able to find some damage, but with the heal, with the teleport open, Syracuse opts to leave and go to A.
Yeah, Syracuse, they're rocking it right now. They're finding their way back, but Boise State, they have 1 member who's already here. They have both members here now. I'm not going to be surprised if we see net use from the side of Boise State. Already damage coming out, though, but Pretz is still alive and kicking.
Yeah, and that Sky ult from Asher is going to be crucial because it tells Syracuse exactly where Rayrena is coming from, and they know Rayrena is coming from bathrooms. They just have to set up the crossfire, the reload, coming in from Pretz, but Asher, with that gun, able to find the kills, and Ryan, this is what I was talking about. Look at the money for Boise State. If Syracuse wins this, it gets a little bit hairy.
Yeah, and we're seeing this Pretz and Owen, the two players that we've been seeing a lot of kills from, 17 each right now, and they're finding their way back up onto this kill leaderboard. And only one ult used on the side of Boise State, but things are starting to get a little even, right? I saw that early Thrasher coming in, but now that you don't have that Thrasher, you have to rely on something else, right? Boise State, they're getting a little nervous, right? Especially on these retakes.
You can feel it.
Syracuse, they're able to get down, or they're early peeking, right? Pretz was able to find 2 immediately.
Yeah.
Boise State needs to back up. They need to chill. They need to respect the mechanical prowess that is Syracuse University.
And I really like that play from Pretz there. It might look like nothing really happened, but what Pretz did was, because the Sky's been throwing the flash there for recon every round. Syracuse is all stacked towards A, yet Pretz stays behind, gets spotted by that flash, so it does not necessitate the quick rotate from Boise, and that allows Syracuse to have tempo, to get advantage, to have the time to take this A spike site with kind of no response from Boise, but they've been playing for the retake all game.
Yeah, we're going to see a good spike plant comes down from the wingman, but raining down will be the brim ult from the side of
that's one.
Boise
Pretz,
State.
there's one more.
Got to look behind you, Pretz.
Oh, he does, but right a bit too late. Skelsis, and now Asher knows he's in a tight spot. They know that there's someone in this corner. The Deadlock ult is going to come out, is going to find one, but T0 now has to spray to save his teammate. It is a 3v1. Asher closes it out. No money for Boise State as Syracuse keep fighting their way through.
Boise State is trying to find their way back, but Syracuse are the ones coming out on top in a lot of these battles here, and a timeout is going to come through for Boise State.
They're scared.
That is going to be the hardest part for the side of Boise State here is now, right? You've lost 4-5 rounds in a row here, and Syracuse is putting you on the edges of your seat.
Man, I mean, don't count out the kids. Do not count out the kids, and I'm not going to lie, it was 5-12. I might have counted out the kids. And I will never make that mistake again. Now, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I should probably stop talking. I think I might be caster cursing this in some way, shape, or form. But this is, even if, let's say this timeout is exactly what the doctor ordered for Boise State. Syracuse has still got some fight, and they've shown Boise State through this. They are not to be underestimated.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is great for Syracuse here is, right, when we were watching that A push, I was a little nervous, right? That was the push that they keep just not finding that value, right? They're finding a spike plant, but they're not quite finding the kills, right? The win, especially on these smokes, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing the exact mirror of what we've seen many, many times from Syracuse when they attack that site. This round, though, they made it work, and they were able to find it. Boise State going to be forced to go with a low buy, right? And now, right, if you're Boise State, no ults on the table. This is a totally dry, mechanical, fundamental fight here for both of these teams. This time out, right? This could have been a reset for Boise State, right? A very strong team in many titles. And one of the things that we brought up is...
One of the things we brought up is that we might have cast or cursed them.
We?
Prestige. Yep, you and me. We're in this together, Ryan. Even if you don't like it, Prestige finds 2 really opportune Sheriff headshots. And now we have Asher, we have Owen, and we have Pretz. They're going to go through the TP and see if their fortune changes on A, but they do leave Pretz behind them to kind of cover their flank, maybe see if anything can happen. But Boise State does send 2 over. It seems like if Syracuse can isolate and win these duels without getting traded, they still have a fighting chance in this round and game.
I'm a little worried about keeping Pretz behind here, right? You're down by 2 man already, right? And now you're going to try to take this fight. It's a little scary, right? Especially because Pretz is your controller, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to use that util to split up the site, even if it is just one tiny smoke, right? You want to use that. Boise State, they're not going to push in either, right? They're playing safe. guaranteed during that timeout, right, two things happen. One, a mental reset, and two, stop pushing Syracuse.
Oh, they're going to go through the TP. 15 seconds left. Syracuse has absolutely zero time to wait. The smokes, the mollies are going to come out, and there's going to be two hiding elbow. Master with the Sheriff is able to find one. Asher needs to find these kills and find them fast, but he is unable to. Boise State, the timeout was exactly what the doctor ordered. Syracuse.
Yeah. And, you know, that's one of the things, right? One of the things I was going to mention is Boise State, right, as a whole, as a university, is very, very strong, right?
Yeah.
We've seen them in Rocket League. We've seen them in Overwatch. We've seen them now in Valorant. Tomorrow will be Smash. Tune in for that, you know, right? That's one of the biggest things, right? They're a very, very strong school in many, many titles.
For sure.
They're not used to losing. Right, they're not used to when people fight back against them. It happened in Overwatch last night. We saw them take a long pause for a while before that third map.
That's right.
We saw a timeout come out tonight, right? When they get pushback, they're not used to it yet, right? They're not used to it, and so they have to sort of mentally reset, sort of figure out, all right, take a breath. What do we want to do? Go back to our default.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that's what happened during that timeout.
And let's credit to what you were saying too, right? Boise State been playing together for a while. Grad students on their team.
Yep.
You were telling me before the show started that they were playing Tier 2 tournaments over the summer, right? So they have been playing together for a long time. They all know each other. And for Syracuse, a brand new team that hasn't been practicing for more than 2-3 weeks was when rosters were set.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an impressive mark. And also, keep in mind, that was Syracuse's map pick, but still, Boise State going into this map too know that they can't quite just let Syracuse. They can't give Syracuse all the space in the world because the mechanical skill is there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we're going to have to see, right, is the mechanical skills on the side of Syracuse, right? The one thing I'm curious about right now going into Sunset, are we going to continue this double controller?
Yeah.
Right? I will give them credit. The double controller gave us a lot of value. It gave us a lot of ability to just take off really any site we wanted, right? By using our smokes, by using that Viper wall, right? But once they were on site, right? Once you used all those cooldowns, you were struggling to find the value, and that's where that Sentinel came in for the side of Boise State. You used your cooldowns, but you were able to use that Sentinel on that retake, on that pre-fight as well, and that's where they saw that value, right? They lost that value in terms of splitting off site, but they gained a lot more with using that Sentinel. So I'm curious to see on Sunset what we're going to see from Syracuse.
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, Sunset is my least favorite map. I think it is extremely stupid. I think it is extremely dumb. I think there are 2 choke points in the map. I think mid is all but useless. Anyway, I think it's interesting to see. I feel like on Sunset there's this constant pull of the Cypher. Obviously, right? The Cypher, a very, very strong setup on that B-bomb site. Countered with, right, when there's a Cypher, you need a hero, champion? Agent. That can destroy those Cypher trips. Yeah. So whether that be the Rays with the grenades from Owen, whether that be Pretz playing Sova. I know Pretz is a very, very good Sova player, plays a lot of Sova. Or are they going to opt to kind of go more the same like we've been talking about? This 2-controller, maybe now we'll start to see the Omen, you know, a little bit better on Sunset, more places to kind of dive in, make full use of that TP. And I also think, if I'm not mistaken, we're getting a little bit of a sub here from Syracuse.
Yeah. We'll have to see as we get into the game. But, you know, one thing I also want to mention, right, is sort of to your point, right, the Cypher, right? From Boise State, we might see a Cypher deadlock, right? From Syracuse, likely we see a Cypher too, right? I mean, Cypher is just such a good agent right now in that Sentinel category.
Yeah.
You pair him up with basically, you know, pair him up with a deadlock, right? Pair him up with a Vice if you're feeling spicy, right? You're going to find some good value, right? Throw in the Omen. Right, this is when I think we see the Omen from one or both of these teams. We're going to see this Omen come in, just have a little bit of smoke because Sunset, here's the thing with these sites. They're tiny, right? There's very few chokes that you actually push through from that retake, right? So you have the ability, just use an Omen, right? Take advantage of that. Use that flash that you have, that smoke you have to take
really
those
good
fight advantages. And, and that's what you have to do.
It does block off the choke points.
It does.
Ryan is ahead of the game. Always 1 step ahead, 0 steps behind. And yeah, I do think, too, Syracuse, like I was just saying before, Hayabusa is their coach.
Yes.
Coach, substitute, student, the freshman.
Yes.
But subbing in, though, is Woo Woo. And this guy is an absolute Beast, baller, demon, freak of nature. I've seen him play deathmatch.
Yeah, and that's... We'll have to see, right? We will have to see. But I want to talk a little bit about our last map.
Yeah.
Right? Some of the clips that we saw were just
there were some clips.
incredible to see. And, you know,
from both sides.
There's very few places you can see clips. But you know where you can see clips?
Where?
On social media accounts. So make sure you go check out Syracuse University. Keep up to date on everything at Qs_esports. That's going to be on Twitter and Instagram. And, of course, we got so much PEC action. You do not want to miss a single bit of it. And that's going to be over on YouTube in a couple weeks here. That's going to be at Syracuse Esports. You don't want to miss out because we got so much action. This is just week 1, Danny.
Oh, brother. We're in for an exciting season.
Yeah.
It's week 1, and I'm already hyped. I mean, baller Overwatch match didn't go the way we wanted. Baller Valorant games so far. Baller Rocket League. Baller Smash Ultimate. The PEC bringing power into the esports.
To the power esports.
And
conference.
wrap it all up in a conference. That's wordplay.
Yeah.
That's
PEC.
the PEC.
It's all about the PECs.
It is all for the PEC, and I do also want to say I feel like if you are Boise State, coming off of that map 1, they're not used to losing, as you said.
Absolutely.
But obviously, Skies, not Sky, not as in the plural of the character Sky, but as in the
We had 2 Skies in the last game. We had Skies and we had Sky.
When you said Skies, like 17-7, I looked down at the Boise State Sky, who was at the bottom of the leaderboard, like 7-12, and I was like, Ryan, are you okay? Can you see properly? No, but it's a little bit of an ego check to kind of get mechanically outdueled. I mean, Syracuse with a lot of untraded frags, right? A lot of 2 pieces, a lot of spray downs. And I do think that is something that Boise State was able to kind of change up. Towards the beginning when Syracuse was getting a lot of these spray downs, when you swing a corner, right, you want to swing together. That's what everybody says. Swing together, peek together, be able to trade the frag. But there's a fine line between swinging together and lining up.
Yes.
Because that can happen very easily. And if you're a little bit too close, if you're just directly behind the person in front of you, we're going to see those spray downs, but it did kind of feel like Boise State went, all right, dog, we're getting sprayed down.
Yeah.
Literally just wait half a second.
Yeah, and that's one thing's going into Sunset that I want to see, right, from the side of Boise State, right? I want to see them on that pre-fight actually working with those trades, right? We see pre-plant, we're seeing these trades go in, right?
Yep.
And they're doing a wonderful job. But once we actually get into the planting of the spike, Boise, they kind of they go with the 1v1s, and that is where Syracuse is shining.
That's right.
But on the flip side, right, on the side of Syracuse, right, we're seeing a lot of these mechanical kills, but the trades, that's where we're seeing a little bit of struggle, right? Because, yeah, Pretz is going to get 2 or 3. T0 is going to get 2 or 3, right? But what does that mean if you're also going to die, right? If you're not going to be able to get that trade, if you're going to lose util like those smokes, like those flashes.
What does it mean if you're all going to die? In game, of course. No. I mean, it's a good question, and it brings up a good point that translates not only from the game, but to real life as well, right? How do you make use of the time you have in the game? For example, rounds are limited, and we saw, I think both teams did a good job of playing with their time, because remember, that round time is a resource. People can often kind of forget about it, just think it's something that arbitrarily ticks in the background, but time is a resource both in game and out of game. And now I think they heard me talking about the out of game stuff, and they said, Daniel, we're going to start the match before you go and walk yourself into a wall.
Walk ourselves into a pretty little sunset is the next map. And we're going to see a Sova coming out from Pretz, like you said. We're going to see the Cypher, the Omen, the Raze, and that Gecko. Syracuse ready to go. And basically a mirror matchup coming out from the side of Boise State as well. Not too surprising going into Sunset, right? You don't need that double controller.
Yeah, like I was saying before, Sunset is an interesting map. I was hating on it before, but to be fair, it does have interesting places for play, for counterplay, namely mid. I was kind of bad-mouthing it, but the door is interesting. The route out to the side is interesting, and I think where the real counterplay comes from, and this is maybe why I don't like it, is because mid feels there more for the defenders to make interesting plays. It kind of feels like, now bear with me, right? It feels like the attackers obviously going to try and take mid every round. They have an easy way in. They have 2, or technically 3 entrances if you want to look at it that way. But I'm really interested to see the defenders' strategy from Boise State, right? The team who's a little bit more coordinated, been playing with each other for a little bit longer. It's going to be interesting to see also how Syracuse tries to approach this kind of dynamic mid.
Yeah, absolutely here. And, you know, I actually do want to say this. I said mirror comp. I kind of ignored the double duelist coming out from Boise State.
Yoru.
The Yoru and the Neon, right? Neon. We've seen a little bit of Neon coming out from some of these Valorant matches, but one of the things that we have not seen is we haven't quite seen the Yoru. The Yoru is the interesting pick here coming out from Boise State. Scalise is going to find one. Some trades come out, but in the favor of no one. Hayabusa will find two, though.
Apparently, I also lied. There was no substitute. I saw Woo Woo walk in, but apparently not sitting down at the seat. Anyway, there is no matter. It is a 3v2. Syracuse going to now take this A site, but the Cypher going to try and stop it. The smoke comes out. Cypher Cage just gives Boise State the opportunity to back up, to reset, to kind of regroup a little bit. And Hayabusa has got to be careful on what's coming to his left. Gets the first dink, but Ray Reyna on the Sova is able to find the first frag. Owen spots him out, gets the first dink with the classic. The second, Woo Woo is actually in the game. I don't know who subbed out, but throwing me for a loop now they are. But Syracuse able to win the pistol once again.
Yeah, and, you know, I believe Woo may have actually swapped out with Owen.
No.
I believe. But whatever the case may be here, right, Syracuse taking that first round on that attacking side. That's what you want to see. Oh, Asher, yes.
Asher.
Right, but Syracuse coming out, right? Boise State. I am curious, right? I want to give it a couple rounds. I want to see their intentions with this double duelist, right? You are running that Sova. That's all you're really running for initiation. You're running one controller, one sentinel. The Neon is pretty typical, right? But to that other duelist, right?
Yeah.
That's where the question is coming in instead of like a Gecko.
The questions, and it kind of feels like Boise maybe has something up their sleeve with this Neon Yoru. Not a combo you're really that used to seeing. Little action, little bit of trades does come out to start the round. Syracuse is going to come out on one, but again, keep in mind they are on the eco round. They are slanted way towards this B site, and Boise State kind of rolled the dice here, said maybe they'd keep stacking towards mid, towards A, but it's going to work out for a spike plant for Syracuse.
Yeah, Syracuse going to be back on this post plant here, and, you know, if you're Syracuse, you're sitting nice and pretty, right? Obviously, sunset changes have not come in yet. You know, that has not quite entered into the game yet. So you're still playing old-fashioned sunset here, folks. But Boise State, right, you're now looking for this value, right? This Yoru is that value.
Yeah.
That duelist is that value. How do you find it? Not going to matter. Pretz is going to take you out with a Bulldog.
Yeah, Prestige is able to find that one sheriff headshot. Every frag is going to count for Boise State. Their goal is to take guns out of the hands of Syracuse. Pretz with the shock dart doesn't hit anybody, in Prestige now has 3 kills to his name. The shock dart is going to finally land. Pretz using that util to win the round.
Yeah, and Syracuse up 2 rounds to Boise State's 0 at the moment. This is where my question lies, right? Boise State, at this moment in time, this is your map pick, right?
Yeah.
You chose to go with Sunset here, so clearly this is a comp that you wanted to play, right? We see this Yoru, we see this Neon. You chose to play this composition. You chose to pick this map and play this comp on this map. This Yoru is playing the role of the initiator, is playing the role of this flash initiator, but you're sacrificing so much from the Gecko, right? You're sacrificing that wingman, you're sacrificing the concuss from the Thrash as well. This Yoru needs to find the value, and we haven't quite seen that.
Yeah, if you're going to make a bold play, you have to be able to justify it. I did assume going into this map, kind of whenever I've played it, Gecko is just a given. You don't really think twice about it. You lock in Gecko. You get plants for free, you get Thrash, but Skelsis is going to be lined up here with, I think it is the Marshall. Like we were talking about, the Gecko, the Thrash, is going to go and clear this right elbow, this cage area, going to force Skelsis to use that Neon speed to blast out. The blast pack peeks over, finds, gets the spot, but the nade comes in response. A flurry of flashes, smokes, diseases, grenades. Daimyo is able to find the first frag, traded out by T0. Prestige responds. Syracuse down 1, slowing it down just a bit.
Yeah, and I got to give major credit to Boise State there. A great blind comes in, gives the ability for the Neon to get out of dodge, but right now you're still down 2, right? You're down that Cypher, Dymo falling out, and that player, I believe, subbed in for Master. So just for everyone watching at home, Skalissis is just fighting a battle over here. But Syracuse, right, they haven't planted the spike yet. They have 20 seconds, which actually means they got 16 to do so here, Daniel.
That's right. Woo now trying to take some frags with the Deagle, but Pretz, Owen. Red in the scoreboard from the grave, like from the grave medal, like in COD, shouts out BCL. Able to come back and get the kill. But Syracuse, I mean, on Boise State's map pick, coming out strong, coming out aggressive, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Syracuse is coming out with a comp that's pretty typical, right? We're seeing the Omen, the Gecko, the Raze, the Cypher, the Sova, something we really did expect to see coming out from really both of these rosters, right? Boise State, though, they're coming out with this bold play, and I really do. I want to see what the plan is for it, right? We just haven't seen the value, and we're not seeing much duelist value either, right? Let alone from, this double duelist, but Neon, right? A duelist that we tend to see run if you choose to not go with the Raze, right? You opt out of the Raze to run Neon here. But this Yoru, right? This is that character, that one that is just a struggle to really understand here when you can't really figure out what we're trying to do if you are Boise State.
Syracuse swing towards this B site with the util coming out, and Boise State again took a gamble, opted to push through mid, through A. They said we're gonna cut out 66% of the places Syracuse can be, and unfortunately, Syracuse was in door number 3. They get out onto this site and they get the plant for free, and now they just have to sit back, sit tight into this post plant. Woo looking to maybe get a little bit aggressive, throws the flash out, but the timing isn't quite there. Ray with the Sheriff, able to find the quick head tap, equals it out to a 4v4, and now Syracuse grouped up around the side of this pillar.
We're just seeing the value from Boise State is just not quite there. And, Prestige is going to go for a fake there. Diamond will find one. It is only 2 members left for Syracuse. Boise going for it here. Owen finds one. Is going to be forced to peek. Forced to go for the defuse, but it's not going to matter. Syracuse, Owen will stay alive and finds the last kill to stop the defuse. Up 4 rounds will be Syracuse University to Boise State. This comp right here from Boise State, you chose to play this, but you're not finding the value. Your duelists are not finding this value of space that you need.
Skies, that was the name we were saying the last map, but if everybody looks at the, dare I say, bottom of the leaderboard, Skies doing his best Owen impression. Get it? Get it? 0-4 from the Yoru. If you're not gonna be able to justify that pick, then it's kind of wraps.
Yeah. It really is, and that's one of the scariest things when you're in this situation is if you're Boise State, right, this is your map pick, this is your comp, and you are just not finding the value. And it simply is. Syracuse, they're playing this comp the way they know how to play. They're playing this comp because it's very, very good. T0 finds a nice little flick as well on the Skalissis, and Syracuse, they're just riding nice and pretty onto this site. They're not able to get the spike down, though, and now Boise State trying to find their way back in. Random will find one and will probably find the round for Boise State.
T0 stuck in this tough 1v2. I mean, try as he may, and if he finds a good headshot here, but Skies, as we said, notches the first frag on the board with that nice headshot, and I mean, it was just a solid play from Boise State to I mean, you got to get on the board at some point.
Exactly, yeah. And I think if you're Boise State, this team comp, because I'm racking my brain right now, Danny. I really am, and I'm going back and forth with it.
Or whether it's good or not,
I think,
or just what it is.
Both.
Yeah.
Right. But I can see the value on the attacking side.
Yeah.
That's where I see this value coming in. So if you're Boise State, you're just trying to get as many rounds as you can on this side. But if you're Syracuse, you're starting off really strong, right? Keeping this in your favor, even going into the half 6-6 is going to be very, very good for Syracuse. But you're up 4 rounds. You know how to play this. You're playing default, right? You're playing a typical meta comp. And you're playing it very well, right? You're using your spokes accordingly. You're really trusting your initiator's util to find that value against Boise State. And when you find a value, especially a kill on the Yoru or the Neon so early in the fight, you're just immediately in a really good spot for Syracuse.
Owen now creeping. That Yoru is going to be blinded, and Owen responds by pulling out the showstopper, but the TP out, and Owen is able to shoot the gun, but unable to find anything. Instead, tagged down to 34 HP. The nade's going to come out and force Yoru a little bit back, and Pretz now looking to take some of that gain space. Hayabusa is going to find the plant in Syracuse, settle back into this 5v5 post plant, and they got people coming from every direction.
Yeah, Syracuse, a good plant's going to go down for them, but Prestige, the flank coming out from Boise State, very well played. A three-piece. Pretz is alive, but is he for long enough? No, and will be taken down. Boise State finding their way back into this, and one thing that I believe is really helping for them is they are playing a little bit safer, right? Something we saw last map. One of the biggest reasons we saw Syracuse coming back is Boise State, they weren't respecting the mechanical skill of Syracuse. And in that process, they were able to find value. They were able to find those ones, if you are Syracuse, to get those kills and send Boise State packing, right? But now, Boise State taking a step back, relaxing a little bit more, understanding Syracuse, you cannot take these ones. You are going to lose them if you're Boise State taking a step back, and now they're going to be up 2 rounds.
It's similar to what happened in the last map after Boise State called that timeout.
Exactly.
Guys, chill out. We play together more than these guys. They're probably like, guys, we're better than Syracuse, right? Yeah. We just got to lock in, and we gotta play tight. We got to play together. We got to play smart. And now it's up to Syracuse to respond, right? It's point, counterpoint, move, counter move. Boise State has responded with a nice counter. Syracuse now back on the gun, back on the full buy, is going to have to find a nice way to respond, and Pretz going to get the info, force the 2 back out deeper into the defender side spawn, and the Thrash is going to come out from Hayabusa to clear out a lot of space, going to throw it back towards the site to be able to pick that thing back up, because you can pick up the ult and use it again if you go right on top of it, and Syracuse are probably going to want to fight for that defenders.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Boise State. Look at how passive they are right now, right? They're not going for these ego duels, and that is what you want to do if you are Boise State, right? You're going to play this interesting comp, this difference of the Yoru over the Gecko, then you need to play it to your strengths, right? You need to play a little bit more passive, but T0, watching a good angle will find 2. Syracuse in a good spot for this next round.
They have the wraps, they have the kills, all they just got to do is find the headshots. T0, but Prestige responds violently, and Sky's now with another kill. Now it is Owen, the sophomore on the block, the duelist in a 1v1. The Raze versus the Yoru playing a ring around the Rosie. They got it to Owen has time on his side. Skies is going to stick the defuse, and Owen is going to find the kill.
Yeah, very well played coming out from Syracuse, taking a step back, right, relaxing. Owen, a good jiggle peek there. Boise State forces the try to stick to half, but isn't quite able to find it, and in return, Syracuse finds the round. But Boise State's Prestige, 12-7 at the moment, really finding these good kills, these good values. 3 pieces both times we've seen them on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a tale of who's going to kind of, for Boise State, it seems like it's who's going to wake up, who's going to be the one to get those frags, to get those important kills where it matters. Yeah, it's interesting to watch.
It absolutely is, right? Because Boise State, they're trying to figure out this comp against this sort of meta comp. You know they've played against this in scrims before, right?
Yep.
Nothing really has changed in Valorant for the past couple of months in terms of meta, so for the most part, you're seeing this Cypher, Sova, Omen, Gecko, right? The duelist at will, right? Depending on what you want to play. But Boise State, they're still trying to find their way into this comp.
Yeah, the Hunter's Fury going to come out, is going to find 1 tag, but not the kill. T0 is able to clean it up, but that Cypher ult is going to come out from the side of Boise State. They know where Syracuse is, and they are going to take advantage of it. 2 quick kills coming in, and now Woo is in this 1v3. The Yoru ult hiding behind the box. Woo, you know, has an idea. You can see that that aura, that blue
aura.
That blue. He's got that blue aura. Yeah, a 1v3 for Woo. This is tough, especially looking at this. B-choke point, it's just really hard to fight through it, and it seems like Woo can opt to take the ult out.
Yeah, and we're going to see TP's over, Woo grabs the spike. Very well played, but I mean, time, right? Yeah. It's situations like these where Syracuse has to be careful with this time.
Oh, that's a big flash. You got to swing the other way. Took a 50-50 gamble. Kind of rolled the dice. Guess that one was going to be up high. They were to his right. If he would have swung out and looked to the right, they were blind.
Yeah, I believe so, and you know that's one of the sort of the things with Valorant, right? When you're peeking these angles and you're forced to do it on such a tight timetable, right? With that sub 20 seconds left, Boise State, you know, they were sitting nice and pretty, right? You may have gotten blinded, but you had people ready just to take those trades if needed. Syracuse forced to run in, Woo forced to take that fight. And now Boise State, they're still not comfortable, right? You're 2 rounds behind Syracuse here. And like I said, though I think their comp will come alive on the attacking side, this obviously isn't the place you want to be. Syracuse, on the other hand, very confident, very strong at the moment here. They just need to be very aware, especially on these flanks where Prestige has been coming in and finding this value.
Syracuse on the eco buy, looking to take an aggressive push up mid. This is what I was talking about. The mid play is now starting to come into effect on round 9. Pret's able to find one, but Skelsis with that Vandal is able to find 2, but Hayabusa pushes, able to pick up the gun. A 2v3. Syracuse find themselves in a pretty good position, and they do bait out the Cypher ult from Boise State. Yeah, so all things considered, the plant's going to go. The plant's going to be denied. Hayabusa's going to swing out, look for the headshot, not find it. Skies the double, cleans it up, makes 4-5.
Yeah, and I mean, Syracuse, this is sort of that weirdness about mid in Sunset, right? Is if you're going through mid, you're running it down, you're hoping it works, right? And that's kind of like what we saw from Syracuse, right? We saw a lot of util, a lot of these flash util used from Syracuse and Boise State. And I mean, Boise State, we saw a nice 2-piece come in, right? Syracuse finding some of their own, and it was just going back and forth, but in the end, Boise State finding that value. Boise State bringing the operator out. We're on round number 10 here, and the op from the Skies is going to be coming out. The player that we saw, I believe, last round using this op and finding some good value. So definitely want to be aware of this op now that it's in the playing field.
Yeah, but if I'm Syracuse, if I was on this team right now, I wouldn't think of the op for a second. It just wouldn't even cross my mind. But then again, that's why I'm here and not there. Hopefully they have a little bit of a better idea than I do. They do get this orb. Hayabusa somehow not going to get hit by that shock dart. I don't know how that didn't hit, but is able to pick up the Thrash, and now we're going to see this in effect. The Omen Smoke is going to come out from Boise State to try and delay, but the Thrash just goes right through. They get some info. They see that there's a lot more people there than they expected, and they decide to turn tail and run away.
Yeah, but Skies is over on the other site. With Boise State just pulled a wonderful bait here, and now they're just going to be able to sit here. Skies is just going to be able to sit here with an op, ready for the first person to peek the corner, but misses the shot. Syracuse now knows there's one player, knows the op is in the field, knows the kite has to come in, and now Syracuse, they're going to be able to go into the site fast. Boise State, they're going to be rotating.
Yeah, Owen pops out, is unable to find that, and Skies now with that op, you only miss so many shots before you start to hit, able to clean it up. Skelsis and Skies wipe the floor with Syracuse right there.
Yeah, Boise State. I mean, that was phenomenally well played. That
was really good.
Right? You bait out that Thrash, you bait out the entire rotate, and you have one member sitting. Right, Sky's not able to find that first pick, but the immediate rotate coming out from the side of Boise State, and then immediately gaining the value, right? And that is where it comes into play, right? Yep. That is when things get interesting, and we're going to see the timeout come out from the side of Syracuse. You've lost a few rounds in a row now, kind of like what we just saw, right? This could be a mental sort of reset, and I'm thinking that's what it is, because from the side of Syracuse, you're playing well, right? But here's the difference. Boise State, they're now figuring out how they want to play this comp.
And especially with that AWP, I think it's a really smart timeout from Pretz to just say, like, okay, they have an AWP. What do you want to have happen when your team has an AWP?
Yeah.
You want the other team to just run into your crosshair. And they executed a brilliant strategy to make that happen in that round. But I think Pretz is saying here, look, guys, we were up 4-0.
Yeah.
Now it's 5-5. These last 2 rounds in the half are going to be crucial before we start to get, again, the Yoru and the Neon are going to be better on attack.
Yeah.
Syracuse really would love to be able to pull through with these last 2 rounds before we switch sides.
Yeah, I mean, you really do, because if you're Syracuse here, right, like I was saying earlier, this comp for Boise State, it's going to shine a lot more on this attacking side. If you're Syracuse, you want to be going into the defensive side at that advantage, right, at that 7-5. But if you're also Syracuse, you're okay with 6-6 here too, right?
Yeah,
you just don't want to be the 5-7.
You don't want to be the 5-7. You want to get at least one, and with the current economic state of affairs for the Syracuse Orange, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get that 7-5 in their favor. Nonetheless, they will try.
They will
aggressive
indeed.
Push out from B main into T spawn is going to come through, and they're going to try and run away, but Skelsis finds a nice 2. Reina with a 3rd, and all of a sudden the walls start crumbling for Syracuse. Hayabusa's the last one left, is unable to take anyone with him.
Wow. I mean, here's the thing with timeouts, right? Syracuse made a call there, but Boise State gets to take advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
The way we just saw Boise State play that round was different than the past 11 rounds. It really was.
It was.
They went fully in, right? We saw that drone come out from Soba. We saw the value come in. And immediately, Syracuse, they play a little passive. They go for a rotate through mid over to the B site. And immediately, right, or over to the A site. And immediately Boise State just starts running it down and finds 2 off rip and is then able to find the rest of the team. You know, if you're Boise State here, now you really know what you're supposed to be doing on this comp, and you're going in hard. You're using the stuns, you're using the flashes like we already see.
And we see it happening once again. Another 3-man aggressive push in. Skelsis with that Neon ult is able to find one before the trade comes out. Owen tries to capitalize with that showstopper, but Boise State doing a good job of backing up, stabilizing, to use an Overwatch term in the game that isn't Overwatch. And yeah, and now it's just up to Syracuse to execute a nice take onto this B site.
Yeah, both teams even right now. Boise State, though, right, you're on final round. We're going to see this Yoru ult popped very soon from the side of Skies. There it is, right, looking for this util, looking for this info, and that's what we're going to see coming out of this Yoru ult. Probably nothing in terms of looking for kills, just purely for the value, right, purely for looking for kills, and that's what we're going to see. And just like that, Daima finds one. The trades are coming out, but Boise State's in the lead.
Yeah, Boise State is up 1, but they do know where these last 2 members are from Syracuse. The good blind comes in. T0 able to find one. The second comes in, and now it is just Skies versus the 2. Low HP, but Skies has the ult, picks up the Vandal, is able to find the 2, throws a spray on the ground, diffuses the spike, and what we were saying we didn't want to happen happens.
Yeah, and Boise State now going to be on the attacking side, where they're probably going to be a lot more comfortable, right? You had 2 rounds left, right? And if you're Boise State, you're looking to win 1, even that one out, just so you can play this new playstyle, right? And that's what we just saw from them, right? They played that aggressive. They played that sort of, in a sense, run-and-gun deathmatch type of playstyle there, and it worked for them, right?
It did.
Didn't work once, it worked twice. And now they're going to be on the attacking side where they can do that, where they can use those stuns, use those flashes, use those fakes to go in. And I guarantee you Boise State's about to just run it down to one of these sites here. And unless Syracuse is ready, they cannot play passive.
Yeah, Syracuse has almost, in a sense, you got to take the fight to Boise State, but that's tough when Boise State's whole team comp is designed around taking the fight back to you.
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the biggest things here, right, is if you are Syracuse, if you do want to play safe, it's not a matter of, all right, just hold an angle and wait. No, you fully have to kite back. You fully have to go back for that rotation and then force them to use those cooldowns on their rotates.
Pretz is able to start the combat off with 1 nice kill, and now T0 is going to be a line of defense against the oncoming Boise State. Is able to find one. Now the bait and switch, you take aggro, I take aggro. It's like we're playing an MMO with the raid boss. Works out, and Syracuse get a few good kills. Stymie the incoming push from Boise State, and work up, take some off angles. Boise State is split up. You have 1 B main, you have 1 over in that kind of shop market area. Shock Dart forces Damio through the smoke, and now it's just 1 left.
Yeah,
Make it 0.
And just like that, Syracuse will find their way back up here. And Boise State, you know, they tried to go aggressive, but Syracuse was ready, and they matched it, right? That's one of the things that, honestly, I wasn't expecting coming out from Syracuse was this matching of the aggressive play style, but they did. And because of that, Boise State was not prepared. They were prepared for more of a kite back. They were prepared for more of a bait-and-switch wait type of deal. Yeah. But they were not prepared for Syracuse to play full aggressive, which is what we saw coming out from the side of Syracuse. And when they did, they were able to find the value. Not only the value, they were able to find the round. And now they're 1 away from evening this series back up once more, Danny.
Yeah, Syracuse is really going to find this round again. You do not want to lose this bonus round. Not only do you lose momentum, you lose money, you lose time, and you lose a round. Yeah. The most valuable resource of all.
Whoa.
Right off the bat, Owen Woo able to find 2 quick kills as Boise State try and fight for mid. This god-awful, annoying mid. Let that be a lesson to just stay away. You can go A or B. It's not that interesting, but that's how you got to play it. And Boise State decide to swing back towards A side.
Yeah, and Boise State here, I mean, they're looking for this value, but already losing 2 on the engage. You're just so incredibly outnumbered, and now you're forced to take this fight. Skies finds a nice little wall bang, but once again, you are on a thrifty buy. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, Syracuse got to find these last few kills to take him out. They do. Woo finds Sky. Hayabusa, Pretz each find 1 of their own. Syracuse take care of business there.
Yeah, and even once more, Boise State and Syracuse 7-7. Syracuse, they're finding their way back in this. Both of these teams now, though, well, sorry, I lied, totally. Boise State going to be able to go with these full weapon buys. Not the loadouts, but Syracuse on the other hand, right? Still on that bonus, right? They don't need to buy anything crazy. Pretz did buy a Phantom last round, which we did see. And is going to keep that for this one, right? But now we're going to be just even, right? In this weapon game, in this bonus, Boise State obviously has the weapon advantage. But now, once again, they're kind of going back to the drawing board, figuring out how do they want to play this comp.
Yeah, and I mean, look at them. What they've been doing when things haven't been working has been slowing it down.
Yes.
Taking a breath and saying, okay, right, how exactly do we want this to go down? We have been playing together for longer. We know each other better. Let's try and use our superior game knowledge and abilities to go through. And right there, we see Skies take matters into his own hands, uses that Yoru ult, runs all the way through, clears this entire A site, and gives the word to his friends that, yo, there's no one here except for Owen and Hayabusa. Hiding with these close-range guns are going to find 2 clutch kills to delay the push for a little bit. They did their job.
Yeah, that's the thing with Skies, right? Using that ultimate as your initiator, right? That's one of the things I expected to see from this Yoru is if you're not going to run the Gecko, how do you use the Yoru? Well, your ultimate is used as a Thrash, a better version of Thrash, basically, right? You don't get the stun, but you're going to get so much more util, right? You're going to get so much more value.
Ooh, the Shock Dart going to force Reina out. Skies, Daimyo, all fall. Syracuse, good util there from Pretz. Take back the site quickly on the bonus.
Yeah, and Syracuse, that's 3 for them, like you just said, as well on the bonus. They're going to be able to get some of these guns from the kills they found, and now they're going to be up in this lead. Now, if you're Boise State, right, once again, like you kind of just said, right, what's the thing that Boise State needs to do if they want to win? Take a step back, take a breath, realize that you need to play as a team. You've played against comps like this before. You've played against teams like this before. If you're Boise State, you need to back up and reset.
But I will say, you're right. That is historically how Boise State has been doing it. But maybe now we call back into question the team comp. If slowing it down is how you reset and how you take these rounds, slowing it down is kind of
very true.
The antithesis of Neon, literal sprint ability, and Yoru, literal teleport ability.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like you have to force the slow, but while forcing the slow, you have to go fast, right? That little oxymoron there of the back and the forth, and that's where, if you're Boise State, how do you go about this, right? Do you take a timeout? Do you mentally reset? What do you do to actually win this battle? Because if you're Syracuse, you're obviously not sitting nice and pretty. You're only 1 round up, but you are in a comfortable position.
You like where this is going, and T0 likes when Prestige walks into his crosshair, finds one, but T0 turn around! Skies gets the trade, but Woo in the nice spot to respond right away, and now Boise State, they've been pushing through mid. They've been kind of trying to feel their way through A. This Cypher from Boise State is going to push all the way into CT spawn, where he's going to run into Owen and actually find the Sheriff one tap. So now Syracuse, level to the 3v3, might start to sweat a little bit.
Yeah, and Boise State, keep in mind, they are on this thrifty buy at the moment here. The Odin is out, but the kill is not there. It's not found, but...
Reina responds with the first frag onto Woo, and now Hayabusa is going to throw this little guy on the bomb, and that's going to force the peek out from Daimyo. Pretz is able to find the frag, but the tracking dart is going to be in him. Again, the Gecko is on the bomb. It is shot off, and now Pretz is hit with the stun. Backs up behind the corner, tries to reset. Again, a tough 1v2 for Pretz. Takes out the shock dart, looking for a little bit more. The Reina...
Wow.
Reina, good teamwork, good coordination from Reina and Scalsis to find that kill in what was... a nice opportunity.
Yeah, Boise State going to even this one back up on that thrifty, and now they're going to get some guns of their own, which is going to be good for them. Syracuse, on the other side, will still also be able to buy, so no worries for them.
No worries.
The econ on both sides, nice and even. Just for those of you curious, and you know, if you're Boise State here, you're nice and even, right? You found a way to take that fight, and a beautiful little... We saw a beautiful little trade there, right? Well, it wasn't a trade because we didn't see anyone die, but we did see a good double peak, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we want to see more of if you are Boise State, is you want to see those double peaks. That's the only way you're going to find these values on these post plants. Syracuse, you're still comfortable though, right? You had that really close.
I mean, you're comfortable, but Owen, the tips of his, the hems of his jeans just got singed a little bit, standing a little too close to the fire. Relegated down to 10 lowly hit points. Boise State still kind of just putting out feelers throughout the map.
Yeah, and we're seeing slow plays coming out, right? And maybe this is the play for Boise State,
Slow
right?
it down.
You play slow, you wait, but when you're ready, you run it down, right?
Yeah.
That's the way you want to play this comp if you're Boise State, right? You respect the Syracuse players, but at the same time, you play your fast, aggressive angles. If you're Syracuse, though, you just wait, right? It worked well for you in the past. Just do it again.
Hayabusa is going to be the catalyst on this A bomb site where the push is coming out. How much can he find from behind there? He finds none. Owen is able to find a cheeky kill up on that height, but not before he's traded out quickly. A 2v4.
Oh.
Pretz in T0 in a tricky spot, but Pretz creeping around the smoke. Looking for the jump onto Skelsis, but I don't know how he knew he was there. If I'm being completely honest. That was a little weird. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough 1v4 for T0. You might want to just save.
Yeah, if you're T0 here, just go save, right? You know, you had the ability to maybe win that fight, but now you're going to wait it out, and Boise State's going to be up in the lead here once more. Granted, Boise State was just a couple rounds ago, and Syracuse was able to even it out, but this is where things can get interesting, right? Boise State, you have that Yoru ultimate, right? You have that Recon. You have that Thrash 2.0 as Boise State is kind of playing it at the moment. So going into next round, Syracuse, you need to be aware of this, right? You need to be aware that Boise State is going to hunt to look at where you are and how they can get there. Last time, we saw Skies go on the flank, right? Get the information out there and go on the flank. We do see T0 falls there, but not before taking one to the grave.
Yeah, but I think the money situation there, if you're Boise State, you'll take that. I mean, you've won a few rounds now. You have money. That's really unfortunate for Syracuse, because if we look at the guns, look at the money. If T0 did not die there, he'd have a gun right now.
Forced on, yeah.
Instead, rocking with the classic. Just kidding, I'm dumb.
Switch to the Stinger there, but I mean, look at this, right? Syracuse, you can't lose this, because if you lose this, you're going to round 11, right?
Coach.
And then, you know, you don't want to talk about it, but at round 11, do you force your buy? Because if you do on round 12, if you lose, you have no money for a final round, right?
It's a catch-22.
If you're Syracuse here, there is a lot that you have to think about going forward, right? Valorant is much more than just what is happening in the moment. It's what is happening in the next 3 rounds, right? You have to keep econ in mind. You have to keep ultimates in mind. You have to keep these aggressive plays in mind.
Who's next?
Boise State does pop that Yoru ult again, that mini Thrash, as we were talking about before.
There it is.
Going to spot T0 in the corner. The Omen Blind comes out. The Cage dropped at his feet, going to try and do as much as he can. Pretz gets one on the site before he's traded out. Now it's T0's turn to try and find the frag. Doesn't get it. Cypher takes down the Cypher, and now the ult is going to come out and reveal all of these Syracuse players. Owen is able to find the trade on mid. That relegates this back to a 3v3, where Syracuse have an opportunity to make something happen, as these Boise State players cooped up in B main. One is flanking around them to mid, though. So you have to keep an eye. Be aware that your back is exposed.
Yeah, and we're going to see Syracuse starts to push in here. Once again, a good push, but you can't let Boise State get the advantage. Got to watch those angles.
Yeah, Ray Reyna does peek out from the side, gets that first kill.
Oh.
This oval ult going to force Owen off the bomb. And again, it's just a tough spot to do. So much ult, so much Yuto. Woo-woo falls. And Ryan, that dastardly paradox you mentioned before seems like it might just come true.
Because, you know, now if you're Syracuse, you have no money to buy anything here, right? You have to win this thrifty, because if not, you're facing a round 12 or round 11 situation. Do you force the buy, right? If you do, you have no money if you lose that one, and then you're facing match point, game point, series point on no money, right? That's the question that if you're Syracuse, you need to be thinking about right now, right? But if you're Boise State, right, you know that you've played against this before, right? You've won multiple rounds against them. Syracuse, take a step back, take a relax to it, right? You can't be letting some of these players fall so low so early like Owen.
Yeah, they do swing out. They get a few quick flurry of frags, and Syracuse comes out on top of that exchange. The Sheriffs prove worthy for Syracuse as they take that gun and they start pushing through A. The sound cues should be coming in any moment now from T0. There it is. The spike's going to go down. Syracuse is going to know that Boise State has gone on to B, and Syracuse now have an opportunity, up 1 in this retake.
Yeah, a good 3-person peak is going to help Syracuse win that fight over on the A site, and now they rotate over to B, where Boise has gotten the plant down. Ray Reyna finds one, Prestige finds the other. Boise State going to be in this lead now.
Doing a better job equalizing. Boise State is able to come out on top of the 1v1s. is going to be Pretz and Woo Woo now trying to fight back against these two. The Omen blind is going to come out, and it is just a brilliant blind.
Yeah.
Prestige and Daimyo able to clean up a pretty textbook post-play defense there.
Yeah, it really was, right? You throw the smoke, throw a flash, double peek it. If one of you die, you get the other one, but it's okay, right? Now, Syracuse, you are in this paradox of a situation. Do you force the buy? That is now the question you need to ask yourself. And what it looks like here, Danny, is they are. I see a gun coming out for Woo Woo, right? We're seeing that Phantom. If Syracuse chooses to force the buy here, Owen has the Vandal. This round is crucial to your victory, right? Because if you do not win this, you have no money or very little going into match point.
And it seems like Boise State is just going to go fast, and Scouse is going to be caught off guard. Owen responds with the aggressive play of their own, and now Boise State said, uh-oh. all right. Doing my best Icarus cosplay. Wax Sun's melting in the sun.
Yeah. Boise State, right? You played aggressive, you got punished, right? This is a common thing we've seen with Boise State. They're underestimating the skill that Syracuse has. And in that process, Boise State, right, when they get into that, they need to back up, they need to reset. And Syracuse is taking full advantage every single time.
Yeah, and that's just a brilliant drone, owl drone there, fun fact, from Pretz, able to spot out the two in mid. And that gives Syracuse kind of an affirmation that, okay, you're right. Play slow, relax. Let them come to you. Syracuse has the man advantage. If they play it right, things should be looking up.
Exactly, right? It's all about playing that right. Syracuse, you also have the ultimate to really save yourself if Boise State gets a little scary here, right? So don't be afraid to use one, right? Don't be afraid to use maybe that Thrash if you really feel necessary against Boise State. But at this point, Pretz finding a nice piece is going to put him in a good spot. The Skies
responds, and now it's a 1v3. Woo Woo is able to kind of shut that down. Hayabusa. More like bye, Abusa. No, that's a bad one. No, but again, like you said, with the mid, rush mid, and hope it works.
Yeah, that's what it comes out to, right?
And now look at Skies. 0-4 at the beginning of the game, 21-11. Since being 0-4, notching that first kill, Skies has gone 21-7. 3 KD after that bad start.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State, you know, they're doing a great job, but Syracuse is definitely giving them a run for their money here.
Sure.
You know, like you were saying, right? Just relax, right? Both these teams first need to take a breath and relax, but especially Syracuse, right? Don't let Boise State scare you, right? They're playing that bluff game with this aggressive play style. You play safe, and you're going to be in a good spot.
Did you just see that?
I did.
The Yoru play from Skies. Walks out onto site, pretends he's a clone, and then TP's out. T0 looked at him and went, oh, that's a clone. It wasn't a clone. It was the real thing. That's crazy. That's a crazy play, and it worked, and no one even noticed anything.
Yeah.
Like Syracuse just, anyway, that was cool.
Well, because here's the thing, right? Now you've gained that info, right? And Boise State is going to act on that.
And, yeah, I mean, look at it. They're pushing through B almost while simultaneously pushing through A, but now they're going, oh, wait, guys, there's no one on B. I still don't know what's happening here. I don't know what calls are coming in from Boise State. It seems like
I mean, if you're Boise State here,
clutch kills from T0, hiding the score, throws the ult, but Prestige does find the trade, and it seems like now Boise State.
Yeah, and if you're Boise State, right, you're purely playing to confuse Syracuse. You don't want them to know where you're going, and that's what happened, and Boise State was able to get on the site here. But Thrash is used from Syracuse. I don't believe it connected with anyone. Beautiful. The spike is down, but Woo finds one. The trades are going out here, though, Danny.
Yeah, beautiful kills, headshots. Daimyo and Skelsas trying their best to put Boise State ahead. Here comes the party, but the party is stopped. Pretz with the headshot. Syracuse with a beautiful flurry of frags. We're cooking.
We are cooking indeed, Danny, and it's not over, right? If you're Boise State here, 11-10, this match is what Syracuse wants, right? You put them in a scary spot, and Syracuse is going to really fight hard. If you're Boise here, you have some money, right? You're going to be fine if you really need to worry about going into a round 12 for Syracuse. And both these teams, right? Only difference is Syracuse, they need to stop dying on these one rounds. Look at this right now. Owen and T0, both of them forcing their teammates to buy because they've died in those previous rounds. Syracuse, if they lose one round, it's going to put them in a very scary situation. but you're 1 round away from evening the series up with Boise State. But Thrash 2.0, we got that Yori Walt coming out again. This has been crucial to Boise State's success. It could be again if Syracuse isn't careful.
And I mean, just look at what at what he's doing here. Just fighting through, and again, the flurry of abilities. Hayabusa is able to get one, but Skies just runs through the site. A quick triple, and you blink, you miss it. And again, do not forget about the Cypher on the flank. Syracuse stuck between a rock and a hard place here. It might take a miracle for them, but Pretz has snuck through the smoke. He's going to get the free call into Prestige. Has to find the second onto Skies. Does. Traded out by Skelsis through the wall.
Wow.
Boise State on match point.
Boise State on match point, and the econ for Syracuse puts me in a little bit of a worry situation here because, you know, you were forced a few buys a couple times for players like Owen and T0, and with this, right, if you're not careful, you're going to be forcing half buys for everyone on the side of Syracuse, and you are at facing match point. Look, see, Owen debating between the Stinger or the Sheriff. Which one do you go to here? Because if you're Boise State, you may throw that Neon in full speed because you know they have no money, and if you could take the kill, you're gonna go for it.
Yeah, that flash comes through. Owen creeping up, again, waiting for that aggressive Neon push, but Woo does try and take the fight towards mid, and it's kind of just a 50-50. It really just comes up either way, but Pretz with this Vandal's going to try and make something happen. Owen getting aggressive, able to find the first kill, Blatzpack out. Brilliant. That is exactly how you want to do it.
Yeah, and just barely survives that. You may have lost your smoke, but you've able to take away an initiator for Boise State. That Sova falls down, but the push is coming into Boise State. Reina is going to be in that mid. You have to be careful of this flank. You don't want it to happen again like with Prestige. Prestige, speaking of, going to get the plant down, but Syracuse not out of this fight yet, Danny.
Hayabusa, the coach sub, freshman player, my ex-teammate, finds that first headshot. I had to drop that in there.
It's a very long title.
First headshot with the Guardian puts Syracuse in an advantageous position. Now, if we look, the Omen ult came through to check the flank. No one was there, and now Syracuse kind of has this idea that everybody is hiding in A main. It's going to be an all-out battle, a fight. Owen pushes through the smoke, unable to find it. Hayabusa runs through with that Guardian, able to find it. Now it's a 1v2 for the match. Pretz with the world on his shoulders. Daimyo, the clutch 4-piece, able to close it out. 13-10 brings Boise State up 2-0, and that's the match.
Yeah, that is the match. But I mean, Syracuse, the signs of life we saw, incredible.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we saw some amazing plays coming out from the side of Syracuse there and made it very, very close, right? Putting Boise on the back burner on multiple occasions.
It's impressive, and especially, again, we've been kind of talking about it all game, but all day, all week, Boise State is a very impressive esports school. Very, very impressive teams. And even though it was a 2-0, I think you can notch this down in the, yo, bro, it's close 2-0. Trust me.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it really was, right? We've had a couple teams now really put their necks up against the Boise State and put them in some very difficult positions, right? Losing a map yesterday, getting close to losing both matches today, right? I mean, that puts Boise in some very, very precarious positions going into really the rest of this division, but whenever Syracuse goes up against them later on, right? Obviously this semester, not going to happen, but next semester, right? When the teams are both fleshed out, they have some time to work together. We've seen some great things from Syracuse, right? And I mean, I really got to give them credit, right? They knew how to play these comps. They played safe. The only difference is I want to see more of these two-man peaks, these two-man trades. They do more of that, and I tell you right now, Syracuse gets the value they wanted on Bind.
Syracuse is on the up and up. I know personally, everybody on this team is only going to get better.
Absolutely.
And
it's only up from here.
I think that's exciting, and I think we got some there. We got some right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that is just the third of the 4 matches we've got this week. Tomorrow, we've got, once again, Boise State and Syracuse University with Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. You don't want to miss it. But, of course, where are you not going to miss that, Danny? You're going to miss that if you don't follow the social media. So be sure to go check us out. Qs_esports on Twitter and Instagram, and then Syracuse Esports on YouTube here in a couple weeks, because you don't want to miss out on any more of this Power Esports Conference gameplay. It is perfect. It is amazing. It is competitive, and it's exactly what you want from a bunch of D1 institutions putting up a new league. But that's going to wrap it up for us here tonight for Valorant, for the Syracuse, for the Boise State. Until next time, we hope you have an amazing morning, evening, or afternoon. We'll see you next time.